Hello, everybody out there in Central Reach land. This is Michelle Gaffney, part of the Central Reach Training Department, and we are going to be reviewing our task module today. I am just letting everybody continue to log in, so we're going to get started in a couple of moments. So just bear with me for a few minutes as we wait for some folks to get logged in. And thanks for joining us. Welcome to our webinar. And everybody should be able to see my login page right now. I'm logged in here in Central Reach in Daisy Duck. That's me, Daisy Duck, in my presentation. And I'm logged into the Disney World account. Again, if you didn't know what you're doing here, we're going to be reviewing our task module today, all about tasks. We're just letting a few more folks get logged in. There was quite a few people that registered, so just going to give them a couple of minutes to get logged in. There should be on your control panel on the GoToWebinar, you are all muted at this point, but if you do have some specific questions, please feel free to type in those questions. I'll do my best to answer them either as we're going, and if I can't answer them as we're going, I will certainly make sure I answer them in the end, or I will email you and make sure you get an answer. I'll just give it another minute. And again, my name is Michelle Gaffney with Central Reach. We're going to be reviewing our tasks today. For those of you that did not know, we have done a little update on our task module. So we've given it, we've made the system a bit more robust, and hopefully it will aid you in your ability to manage projects within the system, tickets, prioritize things. All right, I'm going to get started. I am recording this, so this recording will be available for anybody, and if you listen to this and think it might be helpful for somebody else in your organization, please feel free to tell them to go right on to their sign-in page. Once they're signed in, they can come on over. They can go into their help feature, and that's where they would be able to view any past webinars, including this one. All right, so I am logged in to Disney World ABA. My name is Daisy Duck. I'm a lead therapist here. I'm also part of my administration team. The first thing I want to share with you about tasks is that there are permissions for tasks. And just to give you a peek on what those permissions are, if I go into any of the different groupings of permissions, you will notice that down in our tasks module, you have some specific permissions that you can grant your organization, or excuse me, people in your organization. You would want to give them basic access to tasks. If you have a certain administrator of your tasks, you'd want to make sure that they have this permission. If you want people to manage labels, now labels are a big part of Central Reach, as you all know. We label our contacts, we label our schedule, we label our billing units. You can also label tasks. You might want to label some tasks administrative. You might want to label some tasks clinical. If you want people to be able to build those labels or edit or change labels, they're going to need this permission setting. If you want people just to be able to manage any different settings within tasks, they would need this permission setting. And finally, if you want people to be able to add labels, organizational labels to any tasks, they're going to need that permission setting. So that's permissions. I'm going to come back over into Daisy Duke or my dashboard here. And I'm going to take you into my profile. And for those of you that did not know, in your settings, you are able, and of course your staff is able, to receive certain notifications. If you click on the notifications, you have two ways to receive notifications. You can choose email or texting, and that would be for any new tasks. So if you want to receive an outside notification that either a task was assigned to you, a task was modified in any way, or a task was completed, you can choose one or both. If you did want to receive a text message about a task, please make sure your mobile setup is set up, a verification code is set, and you enter it right here. And then you are able to receive outside notifications on certain things like tasks. So that's how you can receive notifications outside of CentralReach. In CentralReach, you're also going to be able to receive task notifications. Any of your notifications are always going to sit right underneath your name. So if you have any notifications, i.e. something new or something has been updated, you're going to see it right here every time you log in. When we're talking about tasks, we're talking about this module right up on top. And this module looks like it has lines and a couple of check marks. And Daisy here is an administrator of tasks. So you can see I have all kinds of different things on my dropdown. Not everybody would have all of those things if they were not an administrator of tasks. What are tasks? So tasks is a module within CentralReach where you can manage projects, you can manage support tickets that are coming into your system. You are going to be able to prioritize different tasks within your system. So you're going to be able to put them in some kind of order, and you're going to be able to favorite them. If you have something you know you need to work on, you might want to make sure that's favorited. You're going to be able to also track different progress and, of course, plan work days in advance. So the first thing I want to show you here on your tasks is just simply how to add a new task. From this module, I can click on Add a New Task, and I can come. First thing I'd want to do is give my task a name. So let's say that I need to call back United Healthcare. If I have any description, I can type it in. Eventually, I would be able to use a template. We're going to go over templates in a few minutes, but let's just consider that this is a unique task. When is the task due? If I click on that date, I can change that specific date on when it's due. I can create it to be today, tomorrow, or any day. I can also be specific on a time. And if I want to be a little bit more vague, I can also be a little bit more vague. Maybe I just need it as a reminder. Who is responsible? Well, I'm assigning this to myself in this case, so I'll leave it on you. But if I did want to choose somebody else, I could choose somebody else in my organization. And notice I could also choose a label. So if I needed something to be done by all of my RBTs or all of my administration staff, if I chose that label, I'd be able to put it on in. Let's choose me. And if it was behalf of somebody, I'd also be able to do that. Possibly a client it was on the behalf of, I would be able to put that right in. Just like anything else, as I've said, you are able to have task labels, and we'll review that in a few minutes, but I've already set some up. You can see that we have some different labels that I've built. Just some examples. I could have this table labeled as an administrative task, as an authorization update, Blue Cross Blue Shield, clinical, United. Maybe I just want to label this as United because I'm going to want that to fall into a bucket of United. I can upload any files here, and and by the way, all the attachments are going to be visible to anyone involved in the task chain. So if I need them to see something, obviously they're going to be able to view those files. So then I can create my task. So where the system has just brought me right now is to all of my tasks. It actually brought me to all of my open tasks, but I can look at either all of my tasks as the administrator. I can look at just my open tasks. I can also view anything that has been favorited. I can view or filter out anything that is overdue, due today, upcoming, assigned, completed, or deleted. I'm on my task module. I want to show everybody as well. On your main dashboard, you're going to have this little window we call a widget. If you haven't heard that before, you can bring that widget right up into your front and center and have that on your main page, and you can clearly see your tasks right from this page. So you can click and you can filter as well from here, and you can click right onto a particular task from here. Let's just go back over to my task module and let's look at these tasks. And let's look at this whole page. Notice that we have a task ID right here, and it is a hyperlink. If I click on that task ID, this is where I'm able to see who the task is assigned to. So if I open up a task and I say, wait a minute, this should not be me. This should be somebody else taking care of this task. I can change that assignee right from here. If I need to change a task due date, I can also do that right from the task. And for those of you that were using our task feature a few months back or a few years back, this has all become a lot more robust, as you can see, just a lot more function here, a lot more abilities to see right from this screen. We've got our task ID here. Everything in CentralReach does have an ID. It's never going to go away. It will always be a trackable item. Here's where you can view or change any labels, something you're probably quite used to in CentralReach. So if I needed to change this label, I could take that label off and I could add a different label, or I could add additional labels. This little bell, this is where I can enable or disable notifications. Now, because we've already made sure that Daisy has her notifications set up and I would receive either a text or an email, if I did not want to receive any more notifications, possibly it's coming in through my cell phone and I just don't want to keep seeing things on this account, I could disable them. Why would you ever want to disable them? Maybe you just put a task out to all of your RBTs and maybe you have 20 or 40 or 200 and you have it set up so that you're enabling notifications and you're receiving a message every time somebody answers a task. That could be a lot of messages coming in. So you might want to come in and disable those notifications. In the same way, you might see a task that you want to make sure you are receiving updates on. So you might want to go in and enable that task for you to receive those notifications. And if you are an administrator of the task system, you might want to do that. You might see a task that you are not included in, but you're able to view it, and you might want to make sure that you're seeing when something is completed. One right over, this is where I can add something to my favorite list. I can delete a task. I can duplicate a task. This is also a system update. We were not able to duplicate tasks before. This makes it very easy. If this task is happening over and over and over again, being able to duplicate that makes that very easy. And also where I can complete a task. So once the task is completed, I can click on complete. So once you've completed a task, hey, maybe we need to go back in and reopen that task. That is possible as well. You can go click on the task and you can go right over to that little, now it's a triangle. You can reopen a task and add any kind of notes. Adding any notes, just click that comment box, add any new comments, drop in any files, and add a comment. Any questions to anything I've gone through so far? Just going to give it a couple of minutes and make sure I don't see anything on my questions coming in. All right, I don't see anything yet. So let's also for a minute talk about our different labels that we can create. We've got our filters, excuse me, let's take a look here. Oh, here are my organizational labels. Now I have organizational labels for tasks. This is what the administrator of your task module can build, and you can give people that permission whether or not they're able to either build these as an administrator or just use them. People can also build, just like in their context, their own private labels. So they might have their own private labels built as what they need to prioritize, or possibly their different managers or things like that. Just a quick review on building any of these labels. Coming on over to just come back in, coming on over to that gear. If I click on that gear, I can select a label to edit or build. So if I wanted to add a new label, let's say I wanted to have a billing task label, I can just add it. And there I see a billing task label. And now I'm able to label any one of my tasks a billing task label. And I'm just going to pause for a second because I do have a couple of questions here. Okay, the question is, does a task have to be assigned to you to be able to complete it? For example, we often have supervisors use tasks with text to request additional documentation. The tech will respond in the comments, but forget to reassign back to the supervisor. And no, that has been updated. So at any time, you can come in and look at your open tasks. And if you see something that somebody did not, let's say you see in the note section that everything was completed, and you can look at all of the different history, but they did not complete it, you can come in and complete the task and mark it as complete. You could also reassign it back to you if you just wanted that kind of mapping. The supervisor should be able to complete the task. And let's just make sure of that. So as Daisy Duck, let me come in and I'm going to make Princess Belle Princess. Going to create my task for Belle Princess. Now, this would be an open task that I've assigned to somebody. I'm able to come in. I'm going to be able to see all of the different comments and histories on it. And now I would still be able to complete it myself. So although it is a Belle Princess task that I assigned to her, myself as the manager can come in. So I'm not sure that you saw that, but again, when you click on the actual task ID, you should have that complete task little check mark over on the far right. Okay, and that's going to also be the same if you need to reassign, you would see that as well. So we did talk about the ability to label your different tasks. And when you're looking at all of your tasks, what that's going to do is it's going to give you the ability to filter. So if I wanted to come over and I wanted to just see my administrative tasks, I can pull up that label. And if today I'm working on all of my clinical tasks, I can pull that up. So that's where those filters are going to work for you. The other thing I wanted to cover before we go talking about some of the different places in CentralReach that you're going to be able to add tasks to, I want to talk about being able to build templates. So again, this is going to be able to be done by an administrator of tasks, but you can come into your tasks module, come down to task templates, and you can see I already have one built. And this is just a new employee template. And I can add that new employee template and add different tasks to the template. So let's come back and start from scratch and add a new template. And let's call this, I'll just be a little repetitive, but we'll call it training tasks. And we'll hit create. And now I can create new tasks that are all going to be part of my training. So I can click on my plus and I can say complete chapter 1 of handbook. I'm obviously making up things as I go here, but I'm able to now set a due offset date. So maybe this is going to be due 1 day after this task has been assigned. I can now create a second task, and that might be complete chapter 2. And maybe this is due 3 days from the offset date. And notice I can also include a time. I'm going to want to be able to save that, and notice I do have that ability to move things around. And obviously I can keep adding additional tasks to my overall template. So once I have some different templates built, if I'm coming in to ever add a new task, I can say, name it new hire, and I can use a template. Click on over to my new template. We could say training tasks. You can see clearly what those different tasks are that is part of that template. I can call who is responsible for it, so I can assign somebody, or remember, I am able to assign that to a label, so a whole group of people. And if this is on behalf of anybody, and I am able to label that as well. And then I can create the task. So let's just create the task just so you can see it. So now we can see those different tasks that have been assigned to me. And if I come on over to my dashboard as well, just so you can see. Now I assign these to me. Of course, most of the time you'll be assigning things like this to other people, but you can see what it's going to look like for them. So they can see tomorrow at 5 p.m., they need to make sure that they complete that. Right now it's saying this month, but if I come in and I click on that complete chapter, did we not give it we must not have given it an exact time, but we're going to be able to see that as well. So a nice thing about this, when I log in, if you know when you look at your cell phone and you have a new text on your phone, you might see a little number next to that app. That's going to be the same thing here. So if we have new tasks when we log into our system, we could be getting notifications. We could also see them sitting right here. So if I have 4 new tasks, I'm going to see a little number 4 right in this top module. By the way, of course, I can answer any of these tasks right from here. I can reassign the task. I can change a due date. I can add a label. I can make something a favorite. I can delete it. I'm going to pause for a second. And just pause to see if there's any other questions. Okay, hopefully you guys are able to see some of the uses right now that you can utilize tasks within your system. A few places that you can quickly assign tasks and even assign them in bulk. One is going to be assigning a new task if you are ever working in your billing module. So for any of those billers out there, and let me just pull up some test data here. When we've got our lines of billing, we might, for example, come in and we might just be working on our Magellan billing. We might see an error, or we might see something that demands a phone call or something that needs to be followed up on. Once I've filtered out those billing items from the billing screen, I can click on all of those billing items and I can come to actions. And if I need to add a task to these, I'm able to do that. So I can say whatever the task is, follow up, I can describe it. I can also use a template. So if there is something that is a step-by-step description that we want followed exactly, we can just pull in that template, set a due date, who's responsible, choose somebody, leave it unassigned, keep it yourself, add any additional files, any additional labels, and create that task. This is also letting me know on my billing screen that there is a task associated with this line of billing. And at any point, I could come over and click on that task, and I would be able to see what that open task was, and I can come in and get more information on it and see that all of those tasks are part of one. So that can all be done right from the billing module. You can access the task itself. You can add a task in bulk to anything. The other places that you're going to be able to add tasks to, your claims. When you are in your claims manager, if you have claims, it's going to be in the same way. You're going to be able to select those claims and pull a task on. In your ERA, I don't believe I have any in here, darn it. But you would also be able to create a task. Remember, that's just going to now follow that mapping. Your authorization report. This is very, very helpful. When you are working off your authorization report, of course, you're coming in here consistently. Let's try to see if I can find any. Like to find some data here. So let's look back in January. Okay, obviously, many of the organizations are going to have a lot of auths here, and you're constantly coming in and you're reporting on what's expiring, when is expiring, what do we have to look out for next month. So if I'm constantly reviewing that expiration, and I want to quickly let the BCBA know we've got some things expiring here, I can either in bulk or just one by one come on over to my actions and add tasks. Again, using a template could make it quite simple, and it could be step by step. You could assign that task to a group of folks. Everybody on the task would be able to see the history of it. So that's also an upgrade to how we were using it earlier. You could then create your task, and you would be able to see that task again right on that line. So a lot of places you're going to be able to see the task, as well as, of course, you could always come in and search all of your tasks as the administrator, all tasks in the system. A few other quick little things on this screen, especially if you're an administrator of a large organization. These three little lines over here give you a quick filter. So if you wanted to come over and just see Donald Duck's task, you could quickly just filter by that. Anytime you want to take off a filter, just take it off. And assign to, again, those box of horizontal lines gives you that quick filter. I want to come in and I just want to look at Benji the dog, and I can just see Benji the dogs. So if you're just quickly looking, you are able to do that. Anytime there is history, so there is additional messaging, you can see that there have been comments made in this column. If I want to go see those columns, I can click on the task ID and go back in. Please call mom, called mom back, she had a question. I can see all of the notes to that. And remember, right from the body of the task is where I can, again, go label, notify, favorite, delete, duplicate, or complete. Some different filters as well. I can come over and look at all. I can look at open tasks. The little double-sided arrow here, that just allows me to refresh. Created, I can view when it was created, by date created, by due date, by date updated, completed, or deleted. All right, so I am going to open it up for questions right now. on anything you would like answered on our task module. Sure. So somebody just asked what the permission, and let's go back over to our permissions and just take a look at the different permissions for, oops, not billing, tasks. So access, basic access to task module. Do you want somebody to be an administrator of the system so they can access tasks of coworkers and clients that they're in network with? Should they be able to manage organization labels so that allows them to edit, change those labels, or add new labels? Manage settings. So would you like that person to be able to manage settings, being able to come in to a task and that this is going to be managed settings. So do you want them to be able to add those labels, enable notifications, delete, complete? Do you want them to be able to change the assignee or change the task due date? Oh, I've got a whole bunch of questions here. Let's see. If I assign a task on behalf of a client, will that be recorded on the client's dashboard? That one I do not believe it will, but let's just do a quick test. Um, oh, okay. So hold on behalf of a client. Okay, bear with me. I'm sorry. I'm doing this. I'd just rather be able to answer for you. So if I'm assigning it to Bell, but I'm doing it on behalf of, so now let's go look at Belle the Princess, client. Yes, so they would be able to see that on their dashboard. I would need to do a check though to see if the parents have access to this task module. I'm not sure that they do. If they do, you cannot take it off of that. So I would have to check on that. Yes, somebody asked, once a task has been completed, would it drop off as time? It would have to be completed. So when you go into your tasks, it would have to actually be completed. It would always show on all. Open is going to be what has not yet been completed, which to complete a task, remember you're just coming in and clicking the complete task once you've finished it. Everybody should have access if they, somebody asked if they have access to template building. and everybody should have task templates if you are an administrator of tasks. Okay. I will make sure that somebody gets back to you if you did not see. Actually, no, I will suggest what you should do is if you did not see something that looks similar to mine and you know you should have that permission, you've checked your permissions, I'm going to suggest you come in and you open a support ticket where you would want to escalate that onto CentralReach, and you'll say that you do not have that task template when you're logging in, that you don't feel like you have the updated task template. So if you are seeing anything different on your system, and you know you should have those permissions for it, we would want you to create a ticket. So just to go back for a moment, again, remember in CentralReach, really you're never able to fully delete anything. So you're always going to be able to see all your different tasks, and you're going to be able to see anything that are open. You're going to be able to filter by deleted if you even wanted to see a list of all of your deleted tasks, completed tasks, assigned, upcoming, due today. So there will be many ways to filter, never to completely disappear. You always have a record of it. And then, of course, you'll have a record of all of the notes that have been made on it as well. One more piece to tasks. If you noticed, I've already brought up opening a support ticket. All of our support tickets are organized through your task module. So if you are an administrator within your organization, you know that you are going into your support tickets from your task module as well. And that means that anybody that is open to support ticket in your organization, those tickets are going somewhere, and initially they're going to go to an inside administrator to your organization. Somebody within your organization or two people have been designated to answer those tickets. Those tickets are looking exactly like any of our tasks, and you're going to be able to either close those tickets yourself and complete them. And if you can't close them, you're going to be forwarding them on to us. So if it was a technical issue, you would be forwarding on to us. And there would just be a little button at the bottom that would say escalate to CentralReach. Does anybody have any additional questions regarding the task module at this time? All right, well, I want to thank everybody for joining me today. It was a pleasure to conduct this webinar on tasks, and I hope you all have a terrific CentralReach day. Thanks so much for coming. Take care.